All right. We live the YSL Rico case. Who is in the building today? Let us see. Let us see. We are super live. It's Friday. We're happy to be here and made it through another week, week two of the festivities. I say festivities, it's the holiday season, but there is nothing festive about what's going on in that courtroom in the Fulton County Superior Court in Georgia, where we have infamous Sylvia live right now.
Hey
Yeah, you
guys.
ready? You
Hey
are
guys.
in a different location. Looks very nice, very special and quiet. That's good because we like you there, so we can get all the details, etc. And we are super excited today to be joined by our residential, non-residential, but certain essential, the
Ooh, I
one and
like
only
that.
Afi Patterson Esquire.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, hey, hey. Listen, we,
Happy to
we
be
had to
here.
bring you in, Afi, because, it's starting to get a little crazy out here with all of this talk of mistrials, excuse my background, all of this talk of mistrials and et cetera. And we just trying to figure it all out. There's a lot of craziness going on in this courtroom. So we wanted to make sure you were here.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna get into the day. It is Friday, and this is week day. What is this? Day eight. Day eight. Day eight. Yes. Of the. I swear, if this fire truck don't get off my live right now. Day eight of the YSL Rico trial in Atlanta. Day nine. Ooh, day nine. One day I was saying, "Hey Sierra." One day we are going to be saying it's day 120. That's when I'm just gonna. I feel like I'm gonna just be like, I'm gonna be laying down on the live because it's gonna be crazy. But hey, Steph, thank you guys for joining. We promised you guys
Steph.
we would have some experts in today to help us to work it all out. And we are super happy that Afi is here to talk about the question of mistrial. But before we get into that, let's talk about today. Today, the trial has not started yet. We're about to start in a few minutes, right, Sylvia?
Yes, yes, in a few minutes.
Okay, we
Why
got a
so
delayed
late? It's
start.
pretty late today.
The judge has something to do, I think, because he has veteran court on in the morning on Friday,
Oh,
or like once a month, and that's where he
okay.
Veterans Court.
Veterans Court,
veterans court.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he had something to do today. So we have to all wait. And we're doing the trial at 12:30, 1 o'clock. So about 1 o'clock, a few minutes, we'll be starting with the live trial. And we are super excited today because we've been promising you all. You want to tell them? You want to tell them, Sylvia? You want to tell them what we
We
got?
we got the live stream
Uh,
going.
uh, mm. Yeah, that's my dance for y'all. That's my dance for y'all. That's the live stream dance. Listen, we got the live stream. This is a feat. I already told y'all how certain keepers of gates don't like other people to have the live stream. And what we had to do to get the live stream going here with your assistance, supporting this program and supporting Sylvia and supporting the work that we're doing here as independent Black media. So listen, we're excited. We got the live stream. So right after this, thank you, Steph. Right after this. Now y'all gotta help us because if it's looking a little crazy, you got to give us a minute to get it all together. We got it, but there may be some. We just telling you.
That's
Right
all
after
right.
this, you
Work out
watch
the
this.
kinks.
You
Yeah.
watch this. What'd you say, Afi?
I said that's all right. Sometimes it takes time to work out the kinks, but you got it.
That's right. But we got it. That's the
Let's keep
most
moving.
important part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So after this, you were gonna go right into the live stream. You're going to go right, and you don't got to be other places where other people thinking about other things and side eyeing. We got to be where we gonna feel comfortable. So after this, you're gonna go right into the live stream, and we're gonna confer there about what's going on with the court shenanigans for the day. All right, producer, what's next? What are we talking about next? We don't know who's in the courtroom today. Who are we expecting in the courtroom today? We know that, of course, we're going to be hearing from some more witnesses, Sylvia, today.
Police officer witnesses some more. One of the witnesses is going to be Officer Sykes, and he's the one who arrested Jeffrey Williams and Shannon Stillwell. Remember?
Mm-hmm. He
Well,
arrested Jeffrey. Uh-huh.
that is one of the officers that's testifying today.
Okay, so we should be hearing some specifics as to that. What was that? Some sort of roadside, pull him over on the side of the road type thing? Was that the situation?
I think they were speeding or something like
Okay.
that, and they detained them and they did a search on the vehicle and things like that.
Okay, and will we be getting some video from this as well? Are you expecting?
Yeah, we should be seeing the live. Yeah.
The video of the actual incident.
Yeah, they should show the video,
Okay.
the body cam, I think.
Okay, so hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get some body cam on that.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much the only witness you said that you think that we're going to have. We're going to have multiple today, or how many more you think?
I'm not too sure. It's supposed to
Okay.
be like, I think 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
But
5 witnesses.
we probably won't get to 5.
Okay. All right. All right. So we got a few witnesses coming through. We know, of course, we're going to expect that we're going to see on the live right after this. We're going to see who's in the courtroom, expecting, of course, to see support from Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug's family. His dad is usually there. Mariah, the scientist, is usually there. We have his family, his brothers and sisters, of course, the defense attorneys for all 6 co-defendants, as well as the prosecution, Miss Adrienne Love. Hey, Love Nona. Adrienne Love should be present today. Maybe not, presenting like Miss Hilton. Maybe Miss Hilton will be present from the prosecution side. Of course, Judge Glenville. And we got to pray for Judge Glenville, because it's craziness happening every day. And Lord, this is going to be a long trial. Afi, you mentioned that you think that the judge has got a hard time going on over there.
Elaborate.
Good morning, Afi. He really has a whole thing. This is a lot. It's going to be a long trial. We got 6 co-defendants and their multiple attorneys, the state prosecution with hundreds of witnesses. This is a big thing.
It's not, yeah. I mean, it's not your standard trial, right? You have, 6 co-defendants, and then at least 2 attorneys in the courtroom per co-defendant. And then you have, now I've seen 3 prosecutors. So that's a lot of people, and that's a lot to manage. And I think the judge he's a good judge. I think he's finding his rhythm with this particular trial. If you'll notice, like every time, and I think the attorneys are finding their rhythm with him, every time there's an objection, he's going to immediately holler out basis. So you can't just stand there with like a deer in the headlights with your objection just hanging out there extra lonely. You got to have your basis, and it has to be, very concise. But he's been getting frustrated.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Yeah, you're laughing, Sylvia.
I'm sorry. Somebody came by to say hello to me.
Lord Jesus, we're talking about Judge Glenville being frustrated.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Have you observed him being frustrated? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's
and then remember, he's dealing with a bunch of different personalities, not just the defense, but you have the prosecutor, you have the individuals in the courtroom, you have the deputies. He's dealing with a lot of different individuals.
Okay,
and he has to be the boss of it, everything.
Including the media folks, the shenanigans from that side too. There's been a whole bunch of disruptions from folks who were supposed to be there from the media, showing jurors, and then old social media getting involved in all of this. So it's looking like a whole circus up in there. And prayerfully, Judge Glenville will be able to tame the circus, so that we can hear the trial and be able to make sense of what's happening in this case. So let's just quickly go over what happened this week so far, right? Monday. Oh Lord, I have to, this has been such a crazy time. I swear I can barely remember everything that's happened. But we have been this week, I think, dealing with mostly all of the witnesses that they're bringing forth, right? So we have a lot of the boys in blue, the police witnesses are coming forth to testify about the trial and their experiences with multiple people. We had all the Quantaviuses and the Trontaviuses this week and all of that too. So we've had a lot of police witnesses who've come forth. And I think that the issue that we keep seeing is just that there's just a lack of Sylvia, if you don't get on this thing and talk. I see you talking to people in the back. Are you talking to people in the background? There's a lack of
typing up an angry message.
There's a lack of credibility with regard to the witnesses that are coming from the prosecution, because it seems like people don't have their facts straight. the incident reports, the arrest reports are not reflective of what's happening, what they said. You have situations where there was no mention of the gang affiliation in an arrest report, but now they're trying to tie that in and say that this is somehow a gang affiliated incident. What do you get from all of this, Afi, in terms of just the inability to it seems connect these incidences to this RICO case? Do you feel that they're doing a good job of making this connection?
No, I said I thought that the prosecutors in their opening, they should have advised the jury how they're going to present the material, because it's just been very piecemealed. You have people, officers coming up and just talking about, their incident reports and how they stop, how they investigate, how they arrest, so on and so forth.
Right.
So I think the problem is the fact that YSL as a gang is, I think according to the expert, their first witness, he said it's like a hybrid, right? It's a blend between a traditional and a non-traditional gang. And the problem with the non-traditional gang is you don't have a structure, you don't have a real hierarchy. You don't have anybody that you really answer to. You don't have any formalized rules, and you can enter and leave as you wish. And I'm just thinking, you can liken it to when you're from like a certain neighborhood. A certain neighborhood might have like symbols that they use, signs that they use, words that they say, like even I do,
Right.
But it doesn't mean I'm affiliated with a gang. So I think the prosecution has to prove that YSL is a gang, and then prove that these crimes are for the furtherance of the gang. I think maybe they'll get into that, because I've looked at all of the counts, and I think Marquavius, there's a phone call between, I believe, Marquavius and Thug, where they're talking about something. So maybe that's coming on a little bit later, but as of now, they haven't really tied anything to the gang.
Yeah.
Hey, Sierra. Let me read.
Sierra's got a question. I have a question. How do you feel about the prosecutors are doing with presenting the fact that they are moving as an organization? That seems like personal gain to me. I think you were just addressing it.
Yeah.
Are these organizational crimes, or is this disparate? I'm doing my thing to get mine.
So it seems like this is personal to them. It's not for the furtherance of the mission, whatever this mission may be of the gang. Just like these, and because there are a lot of smaller crimes, and they're just trying to tie them all together. So I'm trying to think of a good example.
Well, just think about the other day when they talked about the arrest at the gas station, where the the off-duty police officer comes to the gas station. He sees what he perceives to be a scuffle or something like that, and then they find marijuana.
Right.
Okay. Right.
So right. So okay, and then there was something else. There was another thing I was just.
Sylvia, what are some of the other incidents that they've brought up in this case? We've got the arrest of we had the stolen car, the carjacking of the house mother's carjacking of her car, and the finding of that car.
Then you have the individual that was in the parking lot waving the gun, go after somebody who had made him mad, and he was drunk, he had a gun, and he was waving the gun. Then you had the individual who they caught, they said that was selling drugs at the time. You had them.
And then what about the incident at the park where somebody started shooting?
And they got into an argument on the basketball court, and they started shooting. And 3 individuals got injured.
So something I noticed, I want to say yesterday or day before, one of the attorneys asked the cop, is Cleveland Avenue, is this area, is it a not a high crime area, but is it a area that's at poverty level or something like that? Or is it like a very poor area? And the officer said, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to disrespect these people. But where he was going with that is he was going to talk about, like, if you are in an impoverished area, typically you're going to have a higher rate of crime. But the officer said he didn't want to answer that. And I don't think the judge made him answer that either, which I found interesting. But that's basically what the defense is saying. Like, these are all individual crimes. It had nothing to do with YSL as a gang.
Right. I think that that's the big piece, and it seems as if they're just randomly pulled people into this too, right? Like Jeffrey Williams is saying, I know some of these people, these people like Radavius, who was it? Radavius, that he said his Rodelius, his dad says he doesn't know Thug at all. He just knew him as a someone that was in the community. He didn't even know him like that. Some people who he is related to, but it's sort of like being in a community of people. You've seen this person before. Maybe you might have a relationship where you might hang out with the person, or maybe you don't know them at all. But that doesn't mean that just because you live in the same community that you are now collectively doing crimes together. And I think that that's the biggest challenge that the defense has to address, that the prosecution has to address. One, how do you prove that this is an organization when nobody seems to be organized? Like, how does all of these things tie together into the furtherance of the criminal organization? What exactly does this organization do? For monetary gain. Like, if it's an organization, there is some sort of structure so that people can make money. What are we doing? We're selling weed. We selling guns. What are we doing here? So it just seems like there's a whole lot. And like you said, if they had maybe presented it in the beginning, okay, we're going to set up what a gang is, and then we're going to show you how each one of these incidences are part of a gang, a collection of things that the gang is doing. This is how these people are related to one another. This is a meeting that they were in to get, like, something. And we're just not seeing that at all. There's been this question during the week about whether or not this could be a mistrial, because we've heard so many people, we've heard the defense and the prosecution mention mistrial already, and we know what it took to get this trial to where it is right now. I mean, they 2,000 people were called, I think, for the jury. We had all of these witnesses, probably over 200 witnesses that are planning to be called for this. It's taken months and months and months. There's been a lot of investment in this. Is that the reason why the judge is going to, you said you think the judge is going to find it very, very difficult to do a mistrial. Is that the reason why?
You're asking me?
Yeah, Afi, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ask you to expect many calls for mistrial over the course of, these next several months, because defense attorneys, you've got at least 12 of them. They're very eagle-eyed or hawk-eyed or whatever the term is. And they're going to catch everything that the prosecution does. And they have to do what's in their client's best interest, right? So, and if you want a mistrial, you have to call for it when it happens. And you also have to call for a mistrial so you can preserve the issue on appeal, or you forever lose that right. The judge is going to do everything he can to cure any issue. Like we already saw in the beginning, he gave a curative instruction to the jury. And I think that's in the opening. The prosecutor had someone's murder that was listed there, but there was never a conviction of the murder. You're only going to get a mistrial if there's serious misconduct. If, what's the term? There's a bell that cannot be unrung for the jury.
Okay, hold that thought real quick. I just wanted to clarify. So when you say cure, the whole idea is they want to, like, if you call for a mistrial and there's an issue, the judge's first motivation is going to be able to see how he can cure that, fix that, so that you can still continue, versus, and his standards for a mistrial are going to be what you were just about to explain. What would those standards be?
So the standards for a mistrial, it's going to have to be like a serious misconduct on an attorney's part, a serious violation of a defendant's right, something that would seriously prejudice, either side, the state or the defense, or seriously prejudice the defendant. If there are some type of serious procedural irregularities, got that word out. It's kind of early out here. But yeah, they have to be just serious, egregious issues
that cannot be
egregious
cured.
Violations that can't be cured. Yeah.
I feel like the procedural irregularities keep coming up. That's what it seems like. The whole idea of they didn't submit this paperwork, they didn't submit these documents that they had said they were supposed to submit, and people are, hey, Miss B, they're saying, why is the judge continuing to be lenient with the state? It seems like
I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have caught this, but the person that filled in for Miss Love that kind of took the lead, that young lady,
Miss Hilton,
she was talking to the judge the other day, and she said, "I've been before this court many times." Mm-hmm. So how it works with prosecutors and with public defenders, usually you're assigned to a section, and a section means a judge's court. So she may work with that judge day in and day out, daily. So they may have a relationship. So, he knows how she works. He knows her practices. He knows her habits.
Mm-hmm.
And, judges know when attorneys have a reputation, or when they've been before them, and when they try to hide the ball, or when, they're trying to fully disclose everything, and, when they're on top of it and when they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that I guess that leads me to believe that the judge knows this young woman and her habits and her practices. Go ahead. Sorry, Sylvia. You got to go?
I was saying bye to everybody.
You got to go. Well, listen, we're going to
good seeing you.
Good seeing you too.
We're going to continue, and we'll get back on later as well. But make sure you check the live right on after this show. You're going to check the live. All right. Hit the like coming in as well. Kimberly says, thank you for that, Kimberly Black. So you're saying that it's the relationship, Afi, that the prior relationship that this judge has had with this particular prosecutor, mm-hmm. that is giving the semblance of leniency. But is that unfair?
No, because you can have the same relationship with these defense attorneys. It's not a relationship that's I don't want to say he's being lenient with her, but he probably understands the way that she practices, mm-hmm. and how she he's taken into account probably complaints that she has had or not had in the past as well.
Well, Sierra's saying, what about not turning over a witness list or evidence? I mean, that's not a way of I don't think that should be given leniency or consideration. Like, that's not doing what you're supposed to do. And the judge has promised, from what I understand, he keeps saying he's going to have penalties, but he's never giving penalties to the prosecution. But it seems people are saying that he's very hard on the defense.
Yeah, so you'll see, if you watch trials, you'll see that issue come up a lot. The prosecution, they turn over information when they want to. I constantly say, I remember I got a videotape confession. Well, it wasn't a confession, but anyway, I got something during a lunch break, like in the middle of trial, on like day 3. The prosecution turns over things when they feel like it. And it's different now because, you've got, again, 12 plus attorneys, and it's televised. Mm-hmm. So there's a heightened level of awareness there, for everybody, for the prosecution, for the defense, and the judge.
You're saying that this is typical, though?
Yeah.
Oh. So how does a defense, respond? How do you properly prepare a response to information that you just got?
You ask for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
You ask for a minute. If you're a week into trial, the judge is not going to call a mistrial just because you get a fresh piece of evidence. It just depends. If the evidence is like exculpatory evidence, and it could very likely prove your client's innocence, you would bring it up to the judge. And, you can make your motion for a mistrial, or, because you don't want to delay the trial. You don't want to do anything that's going to, damage your client. But, it just depends on the type of evidence and the value.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's just.
So the defense could say, when you say, give me a minute, they could say, mm-hmm. We need a day or so, or they have to respond at that time, maybe a short break.
It's up to the judge,
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the value of the evidence. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the judge will give you 5 minutes. Sometimes they'll say, okay, we can address this after lunch. The judge will ask you, like, how long do you think you need? What do you think you need to do? Can we call any other witnesses in the meantime? How can we make this trial continue while you investigate this evidence? Do you have somebody in your office that can take a look at this? And you're on the spot. You'll say, I need 5 hours. I need overnight. I need to travel to this location. I need to subpoena this or that. But the trial will move on. Usually.
Yeah, it's really interesting trying to understand. Sierra just saying this is the first trial she's watched from start to finish. And I think that, understanding how trials work and what judges' roles are, the judge's role is very much about the executive producer of the trial, keeping the trial moving forward, keeping the trial on pace, on schedule, organizing everyone. So that's really his role. So his role, he's really motivated to continue to finish the work. The state has invested a ton of money in this over all this months. Wouldn't it look bad on his behalf if there was a mistrial in this case, in the sense that, we've invested all of this money, we've spent all of this money, and then the trial goes kaput? Does that look bad on judges when those type of things happen?
No, because it's the judge doesn't have any control over what the prosecution and defense do. So it doesn't look bad on him. It would look bad on whoever caused the mistrial.
Okay. What about the role of Fannie Willis, the DA who brought this RICO? What do you think the political ramifications are? I understand that in a lot of states, and I think Georgia is one of them, it's an elected position. Is that the case in most cases?
I don't know. And it depends. It really depends.
If it's not elected,
it's been elected.
Yeah. If it's not elected, the person is appointed by the elected official.
Right.
So it is still politically aligned, right? So a win for the DA appointed by the mayor or the city, whatever person, essentially is a win for that person as well, that they can go out on the campaign trail and talk about how we did this, we prosecuted this criminal, we took down this gang, blah, blah, blah. How much do you think that might be playing a role here? I mean, we know Fannie Willis is very, she's RICOing everybody out there. I mean, she was elected, correct? So Fannie Willis was elected. Thank you for that, love. She's RICOing everybody out there. I mean, she's got the freaking president, and I appreciate her guts, because that's a hard job to do, and being so bold to do these things that other people would shudder at doing. I appreciate that. However, there is a political aspect of it. To be able to say you took down a major rapper, I think that can get you some points for the next election.
Yeah, and I don't know what her political aspirations are, but I think she definitely has a spotlight on her because these are two major trials. And just with respect to YSL, I think you have to look at the reputation of YSL, and I don't know it, but I've talked to a couple of people out there, and they say that they have a pretty strong reputation in the community, not for good. And I just get the idea that she was just going after what her constituents want. So, but yeah, beyond that, she definitely has a spotlight on her, because I don't know that she's going to be able to prove it yet in the YSL case.
But isn't it the case that before you bring a RICO like this, you really take time to make sure you got a slam dunk before you do that?
Yeah, you'd want to.
Yeah. Okay. Sierra says, is it smart to switch from Love to Hilton in the middle of the trial?
No. And I think Miss Love came back yesterday. But one thing I said yesterday was, I don't know if you guys listen to audiobooks, but, you just don't change the narrator. And you have to think about it too. The jury has established a relationship, with Miss Love, whether you love her or whether you don't like her too much, they're still in a relationship. They see each other every day. She talks to them, they listen, she feeds them information, they sift through it, they eat the meat, leave the bones, whatever is good. So you don't switch narrators, because now you're asking a jury to attach themselves and get to know and have a rapport with somebody, they really don't know. I didn't even know, is it Miss Hilton? I didn't know her name for a couple of days because, again, like the expectation is, oh, well, Miss Love must be coming back. Miss Love must be coming back. But 4 days in, it's like, well, where's Miss Love?
Right.
You know,
And this is another change, right? Because we've seen some changes before the trial started. They changed some folks on the state side as well. So this is, I just keep seeing that there's so many fumblings that are happening with this trial where the possibilities of it being successful on their behalf are diminishing, in my opinion, each time. There's just a lack of continuity with who's involved in the case. I mean, if you have a lack of continuity, there are people who are constantly trying to keep up and catch up. So they're not going to be as proficient as they would be if they had been on it from the beginning, you know. So there's a lot of that that we see as well. If guilty, how much time is Thug facing, Derek? You know what? I don't know if we know that right now. I mean, he's got a lot of charges. I mean, they're talking about being the leader of this organization. I don't know if I have that information right now. Maybe the producer can look that up while we're looking.
I looked up RICO exposure, and it was between 2 and 20 years, but that's like in the back of my mind. Young Steve. Interesting. Yes, I am an ESQ.
Yes, you are an ESQ. Yes. Yeah. Yes, she's official.
I don't have a suit on and such today. I'm at my house.
She's repping Temple. Yes, all you Philly people, Temple in the building.
I always forget. I got an LLM at Beasley School of Law at Temple in trial advocacy. I always forget that.
Yeah, you're wearing Temple. Stuff. People like, hey, if found guilty, do you believe they have a case for appeal? I mean, that's, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
On what grounds? I don't know. There's so much.
Look, there's so much, right? And that's the thing. I mean, these things are expensive. So, I mean, you could appeal all day, but maybe the only person that has money to appeal is Jeffrey Williams. You know, the rest of the folks, you know, it's a difficult situation.
Yeah. And then you have to hire a specific appellate lawyer. You know, you have lawyers that specialize in, you know, of course, different subject matters and then different procedural matters. So you'll have a trial attorney, then you'll have your appellate attorney. Just like you have federal attorneys and then regular state attorneys.
So that's a whole nother level of extra money that you're going to have to spend for another attorney for all of those guys. Wally is saying that Fannie Willis has a history with YSL. She represented one of their members. I don't know the full world of that and to what extent she represented them. But I think that the point is that I guess the idea is that she knows something. And of course, you know, you mentioned earlier about she was responding to what the community wanted. I'm sure that if you've got, whether they're in a gang or not, if you've got kids doing crime in your community, you want them out. But that doesn't mean that they're a criminal organization. That's the difference.
So this is the thing too. Like, you've got people doing crime in your community. Yes, you want them off the streets, right? But if you think about the crimes that they're doing, the exposure, meaning like the time you could get, it's like misdemeanors, you know, a ton of misdemeanors, maybe one felony. And when you go to court, you got a ton of misdemeanors and a felony. Sometimes you just make a deal where, you know, you can dismiss the felony, plead guilty to all these misdemeanors. Maybe you'll get credit for time served if you've been in custody for like, you know, 3 months or so. Also, with misdemeanors for like nonviolent crimes, you're not spending a lot of time in these prisons. Usually it's between like, you know, as low as 33 or 50% of your time, even with felonies, if they're nonviolent. So, you know, these people are getting back on the streets. So maybe she's thinking that if I do a RICO case, you round everybody up, put them in jail for a long time.
How about we spend that money to get people jobs? You know, people are doing little petty crimes because they don't have jobs. They don't have options. You know, how about we get some, you know, better housing in that community? That community, along with the other poor communities, have suffered because of, just decisions that have been made by the city government, by the local government about who should live where. And this is what you get. You get people who are living in oppressed conditions. And because of that, they are committing crimes because they have no other resources to do what they need to do with their lives. So spending money on getting them prosecuted or spending money on getting after school center for the children that are coming up so that they don't go into the gang lifestyle. I think that it's a choice, right? Real quick, my question of the day: do we want to play that guy from yesterday?
Okay, and I also have an answer to Sierra's question about Brian Steele.
Producer, you got that queued up? I want to play this real quick. It was really funny. We asked people, do you think that there's going to be a mistrial? And this is one of the responses we got.
142, correct.
This definitely needs to end in a mistrial. Absolutely. With a capital A. And with a capital Y. At the end. I'm serious.
That's good. So we understand what the law says, but I think the sentiment among the people who are also representatives of the community is that they are not doing a good job with this trial. They're not doing a good job. The people are not convinced that are watching it. I don't know what the jury is feeling at this point. You said you had an answer to someone's question?
Yeah, Sierra asked a question about, I think Brian Steele, that's Thug's attorney. He did an appeal, and yes. So I took a look at it briefly yesterday. He filed an appeal saying that the grand jury indictment is wrong, and a couple of counts were wrong. I need to take a look at it again, but basically it's kind of like to quash the indictment. And it's for some reason, there are 2 re-indictments, so 3 indictments before the grand jury. I don't understand all of that, but he's basically saying when the prosecution brought forth the evidence before the grand jury, they didn't lay out all of the essential elements of the crime. So basically, the grand jury made a decision to indict on faulty information.
And so is that a standard for a mistrial? You mentioned violations of the defendant's right. That would be a violation of their rights. Prejudice defendants. Yeah, that would be, I think, constitutes procedural irregularities. I think so.
Yeah, let me pull it up to find out what he's asking for, like what his remedy is.
Yeah, throw some more questions on while we're at it. We don't want to keep you too long because we want to get you guys. The court session is going live now, so we want to get you guys there. Before we end, producer, any other last pieces that we need to go over? We don't need to do the shoe parade. We'll do the shoe parade on Monday when we come back with Sylvia. She enjoys that. I want Afi here for the hardcore. We're not doing a shoe parade today. Okay, you want to do the shoe parade real quick? No? Okay. We're not doing a shoe cam. All right. So anyway, real quick question. Yeah, listen, Mariah the scientist has been there all week, and we divert our attention to her to take the pressure off the fact that this case is just not giving. So we've been looking at her shoes and her fashion and all that other stuff. But you said you're going to get back to us. Maybe you'll come back on next week and talk about what you've read and what you found out about that.
And I'll also, I'm going to answer on Twitter, on the Black Letter Law on Twitter about the
the Black Letter Law. This is going to be rebroadcast on the Black Letter Law. So we want to make sure that is whenever you are looking for real legal information and not just me and Sylvia chatting and talking about fashion. You should definitely go to the Black Letter Law on YouTube and on Twitter. It's at the Black Letter Law.
On Twitter, it's the Black Letter. But I answer a lot of questions. If you have any questions, you can ask on there or just DM me and I'll answer them. Okay. But I want to look at that appeal again and see what the remedy is and let you know like what happens if it's granted procedurally, what will happen with this trial. Yeah,
that's very, very good information, and we'll make sure we share that as well. Any other things, producer? Are we done? Check it out. Listen, go straight to the live on. We're just going to be on Infamous Sylvia's YouTube today. But next week we will be broadcasting in multiple places. So you got it here. You don't got to go nowhere else. Cash App, Infamous Sylvia. Cash App, SOHH.com. You got any Cash App, Afi?
So
everybody needs some cash.
My Cash App is, I'm not embarrassed by it, but I have a hat line. It's called Good Ho.
Oh,
GOODHEAUX.
oh, good hoe, like French.
That's what I use my Cash App for. I need, and I can only have like one account, so
Okay, so
it's
if
just for fun. Don't
if
cash
you want
at
to
me.
act good HEAUX like hotels, like what's his name's album?
You know, I'm from Louisiana.
Oh, she
So-
she with the French. So yeah,
So that's why I do
if you
everything.
want to support the attorneys out there getting the legal information, you want to go to Good Ho, HEAUX.
Don't do that.
HEAUX.
That's the only Cash App I have.
And,
Don't cash at me.
She said, "Don't do that. Don't worry about
Don't
it. She's
cash
good.
out.
We're gonna get something else for you." Anyway, thank you for joining us. Watch us live right now on YouTube as we proceed with the trial, and we'll be back later this evening. Thank you, Afi.
Hey, I'm so glad you guys got this stream. Like, that's congratulations. I know it's a lot of hard
you know
work.
what that is. You know what it is. You know
Mhm.
what that is. So we'll talk more about that. We got to have you back. We want you at least once a week because we got to work through this stuff.
Have me. I'd be, I'm happy to come on.
All right, girl. All right. Thank you. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.